Oh, you're up.
What the f? Hi, I'm Josh Elliott.
I'm Paige Lebs.
I am Bret Williams.
I'm Kysar Hunt.
I'm Luke Deaver.
And today we are going to be reviewing...
Happy Death
Day.
Oh,
They didn't say it
amazing.
once in the movie.
So this girl, it's her birthday. Her mom's dead. That's really important to the story. She has a terrible relationship with her father. There's a bunch of people that hate her. She's in a sorority.
The sorority's really good, it's just everyone in the sorority's really It's well furnished, the sorority house is nice, okay?
So this girl is stuck in an endless loop of reliving her birthday, which, wouldn't be bad if she didn't die at the end of every day. Happy Death Day! The whole point of this movie is for her to solve her own murder.
Like, they did this in Scream Queens when, like, the killer mask has something to do with, like, the school or, like, the school mascot. Like, that's really clever. But the school mascot is apparently the baby, and they never address it. The main villain or the horror movie killer is wearing a baby mask the entire time, and it's supposed to be threatening.
There was a scene where I just leaned over to Josh and I was like, oh my god, that is a giant baby.
I feel like they were actually trying to be symbolic by having it connect back to birth since it's her birthday.
They're not that clever.
I think they think they're
That's
that
definitely
clever.
what they were doing.
My biggest complaint, if anything, is that, like, when she
The
kept
movie.
repeating the same day, the continuity was off.
Like, the sprinklers would always go off when she was at the same place every time, even though she would
Right.
sometimes leave the room a good 3 minutes early.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually she realized she has unlimited lives until she solves this murder. Why doesn't one time she just risk her life, bum rush the guy, and just rip his mask off? Like, you'll die, sure, but it's like, then
You're
the next
gonna wake
day,
up again.
you know who he is,
But
or he or she is.
They needed an hour and 45 minutes of film.
So-
That would take
Yeah.
15 seconds. It's like, oh, it's this person.
Like, the character just doesn't do things that the audience would do, and that's like my
Yeah.
number one way for me to relate to a character. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I would do these things. That's why Get Out's so great, because Get Out, the main character does all the things that you would think to do.
Oh,
Yeah, he
I
gets
did
out.
not give
What?
a about the lead character
Oh,
in this
yeah.
movie.
Oh,
He was
the
such a
big-
and I'm like, I don't like
And I don't
this.
believe
But
after-
you're supposed to dislike
I know,
her.
but even then, her transition to her a nice character
I didn't
is
care.
far too quick. Like, it's
She
not
becomes-
gradual, it's
Remind-
always just like, boom.
It was
Remind
like-
me
like,
why
I'm
she
gonna be a
walked
nice person
naked
now.
through the campus.
Because why not?
Because character building.
Yeah, I just want to say that the camera work in this movie is f***ing atrocious.
It's not-
The
What
fisheye
was
camera
that?
made me want to vomit, but everything else I thought was like fine.
And-
Does everyone know what fisheye camera is? Should we tell the audience what fisheye
No,
camera
everyone
is?
knows.
It's when it looks like it's through a fisheye. So basically, very frequently they would just like switch from a steady cam to what seemed like a random guy recording on his phone, like on the
Yeah.
bed. So it was like shaky, like he was like moving forward.
Yeah, sometimes you could tell they're
style.
on dollies, and sometimes you could tell like it was just like, alright, I'm
It was
not
like a
doing
guy
this.
holding a camcorder,
Yeah.
like trying to like
Yeah.
edge his way forward.
If you're gonna do it one way, do it that way the entire time.
Yeah, she was watching a video on her phone of like her birthday, and the video was so clear, and the audio was clear.
She was
It
supposed
didn't
to
seem
be
realistic.
younger there. They just put her in
exact same,
pigtails.
yeah.
The dad and the daughter, they look nothing alike. You have to do that in movies just to cast people that look the same.
On top of that, the dad was probably one of the worst actors I've seen.
He literally looked like a baby,
Yeah.
which was symbolism.
Like,
Symbolism.
literally symbolism.
I thought the
You
lead
remember the
actress
tiny
was
face?
good. I looked up stuff she's been in,
She's
and
good for what
fun
it was.
fact, she was the girl in the green dress in Someone in the Crowd in La La Land.
Really?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Was
That's
she?
cool. I personally didn't think she was a very good actress. I have this really weird rule where even if you cry on command, that doesn't impress me. It's something that anybody can condition themselves to do if they give it enough time. Like, I think to be a good actress or actor, you have to be consistent throughout your movie. So if you cry in one scene, I'm like, I don't care.
In all seriousness, I know most of you will disagree with me on this. I genuinely, unironically liked this
I
movie
agree.
because I think most of it wasn't meant to be taken as seriously as some of you guys took it.
I mean-
Part of it was it knew what it was.
I went into it expecting a comedy, and that's what I got.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I purchased a ticket and I got what I paid for.
Fun fact though, I looked this movie up on IMDb and it is not listed as a comedy. They have like 3 subgenres and none of them are comedy. Thriller,
Depressing.
Wow.
horror, and then drama. Like, comedy is
Well-
not mentioned in it.
Well, as those 3, it's a terrible movie. I'm gonna review the movie that I believe I saw, and I saw a comedy.
I purchased a ticket for a comedy.
I
didn't go
purchased a
for
ticket for a horror movie, and I got a
I would not give it a good rating at all because there are certain points, like with the sorority girls, they were clearly like, we're not supposed to be taken seriously, all the
No.
stuff that they said. But there are certain scenes that I'm looking at and I'm like, I just don't buy any of this at all. Even as a comedy, I just don't, like, I'm not enjoying this.
Why are you looking at me like I took a dump on your mom's head? You're a dumb.
My
Okay.
biggest
Okay.
problem in this movie is that they never explain how she repeats the same day. I
Sorry,
hated
spoilers.
that.
Her roommate's the one that kills her. But it's not like her roommate's some like supernatural being that can like force her in like
Yeah.
a time loop of the same day over and over again. So it's
It
like
doesn't make sense.
Okay, come on. They never explain that in these movies. Like
Edge
Groundhog
Tomorrow.
Day,
Edge
they
Tomorrow
never
explain
explain why he's really.
And Groundhog Day is a pretty solid film.
But you
Not
can't just like copy.
But I don't know, I prefer when they do explain it, like Edge of Tomorrow.
Me too.
They didn't follow their rules too well, but at least they had rules that they set up and were like, okay, this is what we're doing. but they didn't do that at all in this movie, and it's always like a thing. I'm like, okay, why is Groundhog Day now a genre? Like, I don't get that. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I think it appeals to like the human nature of like wanting to experience something that can't happen.
So like the problem with like repeating the same day is that it's gonna get repetitive at a point.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
gonna get boring.
And like they always follow the same cliche at least a couple times, where it's like the first like 2 or 3 days she doesn't know what's happening.
And there's a
then,
montage.
And then she has to go, I know this could happen because car alarm, sprinklers, and then it's like those are in every one of those movies.
It would just be like certain big things happening in the scene that would repeat. The background characters were never the same. There was always like a guy in a suit or no person at all.
I seriously
Concept
doubt
of
they
your
filmed it
movie.
like this, but they should have filmed it, and I could be wrong, they might not have filmed it like this, but they filmed the same scenes of her walking on the quad in a span of like 2 weeks, just the same scene, and then got
Just
the same extras
from the
back.
different times.
And they're like, alright,
Just
do that.
imagine what that would have been like. to film.
Yeah.
I have a question to the movie makers. What the
If you're
was that guy doing when he was dancing for her?
Oh my god.
The gateway for the best shot in the movie when she's on her phone in the background, you see that tortured.
And it's like not even like a regular stabbing, it's like he's being launched up into
Every single death made me laugh. Like when that old like secretary woman got shot, she like went back to
Oh, yeah.
In all honesty, that shot where she gets hit in the head, the background transitions into the
That
bedroom
shot was
as she
cool,
falls-
but like I don't like how they did it in slow motion. Like I think it would have been really cool if he hit her and then she just went down really quickly. I don't know. That could
Yeah.
be
But
better.
also, it wouldn't look pretty. It's gotta look
Yeah.
pretty.
Oh.
You're up.
I have got to hand it to the movie though for making the person that actually is the killer not as predictable as I expected.
No, yeah,
because I
I-
thought it was Carter
yeah.
from the second the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
props to, like the whole fake out ending. It's always a cliche in those type of movies and like the Groundhog Day movies where the last day she gets everything perfectly, and it was kind of cool that she got everything perfectly, and then she had to do it one more time.
I liked
Perfectly,
her
this is the last
realization
day.
of that because I don't think I would have realized it at that point.
Poisoning somebody with a cupcake is probably the worst way to get away with a murder because they think like, how'd she die? She
There's
was
a half-eaten
poisoned.
cupcake.
There's a half-eaten cupcake right next to her. Let's check that for poison. What's on the fingerprint? Is there fingerprints on the wrapper?
Who
yeah,
gave her
there
the
is.
cupcake?
It was her.
Really? So the roommate was like a nurse in the hospital. There's a lot more clever ways to kill somebody if you have access to an
True.
entire medical facility. Take
And
that
she's
idea.
also like having an affair with one of her teachers, and we haven't talked about it because it's one of the most forgettable parts of
Yeah,
the
there's
movie.
no point to it.
They
Right.
only cover it in
Oh,
3
yeah.
scenes. It's the introduction to it, the first ending to it, and then like when they figure out that he's the reason she's being murdered.
But
Those
also,
scenes.
she doesn't end the relationship
Yeah.
the last go around.
It's kind of cool that they broke that cliche of her getting everything right on her second to last try. But the problem is she didn't get any of that stuff right anymore because it reset.
She
So-
never talked to Carter like at all. She
It
like
never
left the
happened.
dorm like the first time.
Yeah,
So
she, never,
had
she didn't
no
have a romantic
relationship
moment.
at
She
all.
didn't cancel her relationship. She didn't talk to that gay guy and be like, what you're doing is okay. So all of those scenes were lost because she reset the day. And she
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
finish any of it.
Yeah, so should we go to final verdicts now?
The movie is very ridiculous, but I feel like it kind of knows that. I didn't take it very seriously. I'd say it's one of the best comedy movies of the year, whether it intended to be or not. So I'm gonna give it a 6.
I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I didn't like it. There were certain aspects of it I liked, and I certainly laughed, but it was more just like uncomfortably laughing because it's like, they're trying and they're
Yeah.
not succeeding. Whether they were trying to be funny or whether they were trying to be serious, I couldn't tell because it didn't
Right.
succeed in being serious or funny to me. So I was just kind of like, okay, that's great. I'm gonna just give it a solid 3 out of 10.
For the genre that it was given, like drama and horror, it was terrible. But I mean, as a comedy, it's actually pretty solid. If it was a comedy, I would give it like a 7. The filmmakers decided to make it a horror and drama. I'm gonna give it a 2.
I was expecting something funny. I purchased that ticket and I was like, I'm gonna have a good time. But I expected them to not think it was gonna be bad. But the movie itself knew it was that brought it up a whole like 2 numbers for me. So I'm gonna put it at like a nice even 5.
I agree with Paige in the sense that like sometimes it was self-aware, but sometimes they try to do serious things. All the times it was funny, and it should not have been funny in
Yeah.
certain scenes. I also believe that just because something's self-aware doesn't mean it's good. Even if it was self-aware that it's bad, it's still bad. So I'd give it a 2 out of 10, I think.
So our final verdict is a 3.6.
Yeah.
But its Rotten Tomatoes score is higher than any of the individual ratings.
68. I think that people are doing what you're
Agreeing
People
with
are
me.
enjoying
that
themselves.
they're enjoying
Yeah,
it.
that's
The
right.
critic rating is 66%. The audience rating is 74.
I fundamentally disagree, but
I do so.
If I were to watch it again, I would definitely do it with either an empty theater or only at my house with friends. Like,
Yeah.
that's-
I'd agree.
What did you think about this movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment and let us know. If you comment, I will put on a baby mask and hunt you down.
Okay, bye.
Great time.
goodbye.
Goodbye.
Love you.
Oh. You're up. Oh my god!